what did you?
I said she runs like me. She usually wanders in like 30 seconds late.
Are we ready?
6 minutes late.
Yeah.
This is last agenda. Here's the agenda.
We're live.
Okay. Welcome to the Open Space and Ecology meeting, March 22nd, 2017. Thank you for your patience. We had some technical difficulties. So is there a move to adopt the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. So the first thing we have is storm drain trash capture presentation by Public Works Maintenance Program Manager Keegan Black, a lifelong Brisbane resident who we're so proud of.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
You want to see your presentation?
I can see it on Bob's screen, actually. I'm able to look across the way.
Why don't we hold on just a half a second here?
Oh, yeah.
Bob.
Glenn's coming.
Number 5.
Faster, faster.
It's okay, dear.
Are we supposed to vote?
No,
No.
next month.
You're going to be
When you
president next time, remember?
motion and second? I do apologize. We never voted on the agenda.
Oh, David,
Where's her president?
here, you can sit here. You can run the meeting. I just started it. You can practice.
So what did Kima say we missed?
We didn't vote to adopt the agenda. So all in favor of adopting the agenda?
Aye.
Okay. And Keegan's going to start his presentation. Take a deep breath, relax. On storm drain trash capture, which has been a huge issue this past winter for all the municipalities.
Yes, it has. So Karen asked me to come tonight to talk to you guys about our program for trash capture. This is a regulated program. It's regulated by the the Regional Water Board and State Water Board regulate this program. It's through a municipal regional permit that is provision C10, and that spells out how we're supposed to go about capturing. In the end of the permit, it's supposed to be 100% trash to the waterways. That's by 2022. You guys can see all our milestones that we're required to achieve. We met our 2016 milestone of 60%, and actually we did 64.8%. 2016, and we're projected to actually exceed our 80% requirement for 2019 this year. So we're a little ahead of schedule. Sorry.
May I just ask, where are you measuring this reduction?
Oh, okay. So we'll get into how this is all measured in a minute.
Okay.
I want to just kind of tell you guys first about where we need to get to first, and then I'll talk to you guys about how we're going to get there.
Okay.
What's the baseline?
That's probably the next. It's the next screen, I believe.
Can you tell this group just loves to jump ahead? And
No, it's fine. It's fine. I started
All
with the where we got to be first, and didn't tell you how we're going to get there. Okay. So I wanted to kind of work backwards. So here's where we need to be: 60% by last fiscal year, and we achieved that. 70% this fiscal, we will easily achieve that. 80% by 2019, and then by 2022, we're required to have 100% or no adverse impacts to receiving waters. And pretty much how they state that is there's always going to be a tiny amount of trash. It's impossible to really do 100%. You know, a gum wrapper floating down the street is a measurable amount, or below a measurable amount, really. So that's why they have the no adverse impacts to receiving waters. They wanted to give us a goal we could actually achieve. So we'll talk about, well, this is how we're looking right now and how we went about getting that 64.8%. 49.2% were through trash capture devices, and I'll show you guys what those are in just a minute. 5.6% was through street sweeping and online cleanups. We'll cover where we're doing those and how we're doing them. And then 10% was through our single-use bag and expanded polystyrene ordinances. So
The question might be: does the regional board calculate those percentages, or is it what you are?
So they're calculated in different ways. Trash capture devices are calculated. We have a base low generation rate. me get there real quick. This slide shows our base load generation rate. Pretty much through a bunch of different metrics, they predicted how much each area should generate through density of housing, whether it's residential, commercial, traffic, and then we went out and we ground truthed all of this. Not 100% of it, but anything we didn't believe to be accurate, we went out and ground truthed. And this slide actually shows it was Romero and myself. We're
Is that
out.
on Beatty or?
That's on Beatty, yeah. That's out near the dumps. And this is an old slide, so please don't think it looks like this now.
No, they've really worked hard to clean it up. I
Yes.
mention it to them every time I see them.
Yeah, they've done a good job out there. I see a guy out there every day walking the street on
Or a
Tunnel
girl.
or woman, excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm in
On Beatty, that's where you turn off of Tunnel and head east towards the 101.
Oh, okay.
And this is where we went out and we actually went out and we assessed these certain locations where we weren't sure if they were accurate or not. And we went through, I think we did about 50 of these to confirm this low generation rate. And on the side, you'll see they've assigned each color a specific amount of gallons per acre per year. Green meaning pretty much our residential, our open space areas. Those are good. Those are areas we don't have to really do anything beyond the general measures. The trash haulers in that area, we're working with them on some of the trash cans. You've seen the one in the lobby, I'm sure. That'll help reduce some trash. There is some street sweeping done in those areas in a more of a general way that helps reduce trash. And by those general areas, we consider them completed. Then yellow is 5 to 10 gallons per acre per year. Those are moderate areas. Those are basically our commercial areas. Some of the marina, Main Street visitation, the schools, BES particularly, they consider a medium rate. And then you get onto your highs and very highs. So that's Bayshore with the amount of traffic it sees, and partially it's inaccessibility. It's not easy to pull over inside of Bayshore and grab a piece of trash if you're not a city employee with lights. And then there's 101, which is very high. And that is they have their own permit they have to conform to. Caltrans has I believe a tier 2 municipal regional permit. They will be complying. They're a little behind where we are. I don't know if you've noticed they're a little cleaner lately. They've been working on it, and they've actually been issued a notice of violation for not complying. So they're ramping up their efforts too. And then I have some slides kind of showing you some of our devices in the field. This one's actually taken right out here on the corner of the parking lot. That trash capture device is in the catch basin as you exit the parking lot. It's down. You're looking down inside of the catch basin at the top of the device. You can see here's with it open. They're a 5mm mesh screen, stainless steel, that filters the water and keeps anything below 5mm in the catch basin for us to clean out later.
Including cigarette butts.
Cigarette butts, yes.
Yes,
It
very
does
good.
capture cigarette butts for sure. And like you mentioned about this winter, especially, it is a challenge to maintain these devices with the storms we've been getting. But the crew's been doing a very good job. These do have a built-in overflow for safety. You can kind of see that gap at the very top.
Oh, yeah.
That allows them to overflow if they do get too much debris in. So we maintain these very regularly and inspect them even more so to make sure that they're maintained. And they're required to maintain less than 50% full. So here's another device that's out underneath the bridge. And this one, the water actually travels up from below and filters out through the sides and runs down the spillway. And here's one that's actually a basket that drops inside and supported by the rim of the catch basin and captures the trash. And then here's where we have our devices currently.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. We have a little over 200 devices.
So I noticed that we don't have any along the area that is red and magenta up by Beatty and the Candlestick northbound on-ramp, which
Yes,
is
we
very
actually-
problematic. It's not on the map.
We're actually not required in that area. That area travels into San Francisco's combined sewer system. So all that water is treated by San Francisco, and all the trash is removed through their process.
Do they have devices there?
No, San Francisco isn't required to because they treat all stormwater. Since they have the combined sewer and storm drain system,
You treat it at the plant
they
rather
treat it at the
than
plant.
trying to catch it.
All the trash is filtered out at the plant.
Where do they? I mean, that's right by the bay. Where does it go?
The water doesn't travel into the bay. The water travels. There's actually a big storage device out on the edge of the water. It travels from there, and then it's pumped around. I believe the first, it's past Hunter's Point. I can't remember exactly where the first treatment plant is. But San Francisco has, I think, at least 3 large treatment plants that handle all their storm and sewer water.
Does that include Beatty
Yes.
and all of that whole area? Okay.
Yes. All that area travels into their system. Yeah. And there are certain areas you can see, like on Tunnel Avenue, where they're between where Golden Gate Lumber is and our Corporation Yard. That area, there is no storm drain system out there to put devices in. So we do have other measures. It's not just the trash capture devices. Those are the primary ways that we capture trash, but we also do, let's see if we can go ahead. We also do online cleanups. And basically we've worked through the trash haul franchise agreement. South San Francisco Scavenger cleans up along the roadways. Once a month they go out and their crew will walk those stretches of road picking up all the trash.
Will they also pick up on, shall I say, on demand, like when you see a dump, something's
Yes, they
dumped?
do. Yes.
Okay.
We have that too. We have, I think, 150 free pickups a year.
Yeah, because I've noticed a new dumping area along Tunnel Road right before you go under the freeway towards the marina. There's a
Yes.
little side road there, and people have been dumping there like crazy lately.
Yeah. And
It's so close to the lagoon that at high tide it floats into the lagoon.
yeah, I know exactly what spot you're talking about, and they're aware of that location. I think there might be a little discrepancy with Caltrain property versus Brisbane property, so they're working on that area specifically. It's going to get cleaned up very soon if it's not already done.
At that point, does it really matter whose property it is or protect?
No, it's just a little bit of access. You got to be really careful with the railroad access. They
Yeah.
really, you got to be careful as you trespass on their property. So that's maybe the only problem out there. But they're working on that one. We're aware of it. And this one shows our capture area, and this will probably increase slightly as we're allowed to go out and do more ground truthing of the actual catchment of the private property. But this is a pretty good idea of what those trash capture devices are capturing, how much of the town they're actually treating.
Do the storm drains in Brisbane then all go down through the catchment system?
Yes.
Okay.
Majority of the, I'd say 95% of the water travels either through Guadalupe Channel or Central Channel.
Okay.
And then also another way we capture trash is through our street sweeping program.
Why is one area green?
It's the frequency. Those are only done, I believe, once a month, Karen.
Okay.
That's residential up on the ridge, and they're only done once a month, where our commercial areas are done once a week. And another way we do cleanups is once a year we do a hotspot cleanup. And we recently moved our hotspot cleanup from, we were cleaning the channel by PG&E Yard, and now we moved it to Fisherman's Park.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the last cleanup we did at Fisherman's Park.
That's a real source of trash there.
It is. We've tried a few things to improve it, and we put the 2 large dumpsters out there, and that made a dramatic impact on the amount of trash. I mean, I always look up against the fence when I drive by because everything blows right to the fence, and I've noticed a dramatic decrease since those 2 dumpsters were put in there.
Yeah. Do you find other dumping going on in the dumpsters?
No, they're locked. So those two dumpsters only have small openings.
Okay.
And we have a key, and Sussex Scavenger have a key.
Okay.
So that's it. Yeah.
So another source of garbage, and I actually photographed it on my way to work the other day, and I've talked to the vice president at Recology about it, and also the former vice president. But if the trash trucks don't close their bins before taking off to go get another load, the trash just billows right out, and that's why that whole area along the northbound on-ramp at Candlestick is covered in garbage. And when you look at and Beatty, and when you look at the nature of the garbage, because they were like, oh, that comes off the freeway. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I take that way every single day, and I see it blow out of your trucks. Oh, well, our trucks, they close the trucks. I'm like, no, they don't. Maybe they're supposed to, but they don't. And I talked to them about it extensively, and they started the trash cleanup program along Beatty. But along the freeway, it's harder to do on the on-ramp because it's dangerous. Yeah. And that's the source of a lot of garbage along the freeway. And I have a photograph of their truck just this past week with its bins wide open and stuff bouncing out and blowing all over the place. And I think that we really need to work with them and with our other supplier to make sure that they close their doors. Yeah, okay, the inside of the truck gets stinky, but you know what? They're putting out as much trash as a couple thousand cars a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just by being careless.
Please forward those pictures on to us, and we'll have a conversation with them. We do work very closely with the trash haulers. Yeah. There's a work group I'm a member of that we meet with Recology rep and a Sussex Scavenger rep about once a quarter. We all get together and talk about stuff like this. And they know they're an issue. And, I think more conversations with them would help, and pressure in different areas, I think that would help too.
Yeah.
So please, forward that on to us, and we'll.
Yeah, they don't. And they create their own wind because as they're moving forward and they gain speed, it creates this vacuum thing that literally sweeps their truck clean and all onto the highway. So the other thing that might help improve what's going on is to, I know that it's not a popular activity anymore, but it's still a reality, is having cigarette-specific trash devices at strategic locations where you know that where you see heavy butts.
Yeah.
A lot of butts.
And we do work on that too. That's kind of a smaller part of the program. But no, we have installed 2 at Fisherman's Park, and I'm working with the marina right now on putting a couple out on the fishing pier.
Right. I've seen them at Fisherman's Park.
Yeah.
But I think that there needs to be one at other public venues, like near the community park, near the corner of Visitation and Monterey, perhaps near the 2 markets. Because, smoking is not illegal. Filters are a big problem.
I think next to the Eagles.
That's why I said Monterey and Visitation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that people have a safe place to dispose of their cigarette, but where they don't have to bend over and field strip it.
Maybe we should try some public education on that too, posters or something. Because I don't know what people think about their cigarette butts, or if they do, or if they know that they're really not biodegradable and that cigarette butts are forever and things like that. We could maybe agendize that for a future meeting.
Yeah. And the other thing that I see a lot in the garbage stream along beaches and shorelines are things like straws and the Swisher packs. Like I've almost completely stopped using straws.
Yeah.
And especially little drink straws and those, because they don't recycle and they get uncaptured, and they go everywhere. And bottle caps. And bottle caps really should be reattached to the bottle and then tossed or whatever. But just, I don't know. Those are things that I see a lot. So does this include any, I understand that this is trash. But since you're here, could you also speak to non-trash bay pollution?
So as far as
Dirt, soil,
runoff,
runoff,
yeah,
sedimentation, everything like that. Because we've had a lot of that this year, and it's really taken its toll on bay life.
Before we go on, I just want to say another place that I just see tons and tons of cigarette butts is San Bruno and Mariposa. I don't know whether it's the residents of that building or what, but it's just
Yeah, and I think with
tons there. I just,
with the outdoor in multi-unit buildings, the new ordinance that was passed, I think it's very important to, like Barbara said, to maybe have specific trash receptacles in those areas.
yeah, we do have that targeted as a hotspot as far as trash receptacles go. And Joe Friars, the Buildings and Grounds supervisor, he did add an additional trash can for that area.
But people are often reluctant to put their cigarette butt in a trash
can, yeah.
Because it could cause a fire, which is why maybe have specific or attached to the trash can a specific device for cigarette butts.
Yeah, we'll look into that for sure.
And part of the reason we had Keegan come today was the prior meeting questions about sandbags, so I wanted to touch on that a little bit.
Oh, good.
Is that the trash capture devices would, if a sandbag did deteriorate that far, would capture the plastic. But we talked about a couple things, was that, and Keegan can speak to this too, that they did select plastic because it lasts quite a bit longer than burlap, and it tends to last, if they're not driven over, it would last about 3 times as long. The other piece of that is after they're done for the season, what happens. So we pick up ours, but we can reinforce that we want to pick up all of the ones that Public Works uses on public places, but we can also do education to property owners or residents that they remove theirs for the season. And Keegan had the idea that we could have a place to recycle. People could bring them back here and we could reuse the sand and separate the bags from the sand.
That'd be
Same
good.
place that people pick them up.
Yeah, we could do something as simple. We talked about having just a bin, a large palletized bin that we can easily load onto a truck that we can leave out after the rainy season, and people can come and just dump them in any condition, and we'll handle the waste.
That would be good. Those little shreds that come out of those bags, I'm glad to know that they'll be caught if they enter water, but they also blow around like crazy.
Yeah.
I know I had a neighbor who tarped his roof, and the tarp sat there for about 2 years in the sun, and this was probably 3 years ago, I'm still picking little shreds out of my yard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate that is the aftermath of some of those nylon bags. But like Karen said, we do use them because they will last us longer and they will survive longer out there in the field than the burlap.
They're not nylon.
They're plastic.
They're plastic.
Yeah.
Well, nylon is a plastic.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably reinforced with something, but they're little plastic. They're woven out of little
I'm not sure.
strips. So the ones I've been looking at on Quarry Road have been out there for quite a while, and they're shredded.
Yeah. It's time to pick them up.
Okay.
I'll make a note of that and ask the crew if they can grab those ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to press my opinion, but I would still be more comfortable changing to burlap just because I know you guys have so much to do, and picking them up, I don't feel should be added to that list, really. Like, that's just my opinion.
I really would like to see us still continue to explore a better material than what we're using.
I would
Yeah,
too.
and I mean, if you're kind of expecting them to be picked up after the rainy season anyway, then what does it matter if they're a short-lived material? That might be. I still feel like that might be better in the balance.
The ones that are driven over are going to break down
Okay.
if they have to be in a roadway. And I
Okay.
think burlap, even if the burlap is a natural material and gets captured, ideally the sand wouldn't be running
Yeah.
through the storm drain system. We'd want to,
That's not good either.
right,
That does happen as well.
right.
Yeah.
It
And,
does.
Because they get broken.
and those aren't, maybe those aren't the only two options. Maybe
Yeah.
something, like a rayon that's made out of originally, even though it's a synthetic material, it's made out of a cellulose, so it breaks down differently.
Sure,
than
it's
plastic
sustainable
does.
rayon.
Yeah, man.
Let's be sure it's sustainable rayon.
Yeah,
Not all of it is.
Yeah, not all of it is, but so I know it's hard because it's like the devil or the deep blue sea. Mm-hmm. But let's keep looking for a better solution because.
And you said that filtration catches things 5 millimeter?
Yeah, it'll go down to 5 millimeter.
Yeah, because those plastic particles they'll go right through when
Yeah.
they get broken down far enough, and then they become that emulsion plastic in the water, and that's just so bad.
Yeah. Okay. We can look more into types. We didn't look a lot into that end. But we do want to kind of have a campaign that people should see if they're broken down and they can bring them back, or
Yeah.
they can dispose
That
of
would
them.
definitely
Or
be a
people
start.
might dump the sand in their yards.
Would you ever have a pickup day where you'd go around and pick up if people called you?
We can look into that.
That'd be a lot of
Work.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have an estimate of how many sandbags we.
How many sandbags
About
do you
in
go through
a
in a year? Generally around 2,000. We usually make 2,000 sandbags a year. Some years are worse than, I should say, some years are more than others. I say this year definitely made more than that, but that's our general goal of beginning of the year is to make 2,000 sandbags.
And
we
some
usually
people
go
are
through that.
probably picking up just a couple, so that's a lot of pickups.
I think it would be a good idea to establish some kind of pickup, maybe, and publicize it in the Star or something, because I don't know if anybody else read this, but the San Francisco Chronicle a couple weeks ago reported on a company it's a sand company, and it operates down by Monterey. And they've taken so much sand off the beach there that it's really destroying the beach. The beach is not building up again, so it's shrinking. So I was really shocked because sand is such, you think it's a natural material, but there's enough sand being taken off beaches that it's really destructive. So it's probably important not just for the bags, but also to recover the sand if we can.
Yeah, I originally liked your idea of a drop-off because that seemed much more, and I'm trying to keep our city's budget and labor in mind here. But then I was thinking about if I was dropping them off, if I really want to load those dirty, wet, decomposing things in the back of my car, and I'm like, it might just never get done if it was up to me to drop it off.
And if you've ever experienced picking up a bag of dirt or soil that's been sitting around for a long time and the plastic bursts open and all of a sudden you're covered in it,
Yeah.
not fun.
Yeah.
Well, we would, you don't want to take them away too early. We just had these last rains. We probably all thought we were getting close to the end. So the official rainy season by the Water Quality Control Board standards is October 15th to April 15th. So we were thinking we would have a campaign then. And I would imagine they'd be dried out, but if they weren't, they could put them, and we could say you could put them into a trash bag or some other carrying.
Trash bag isn't going to hold those things.
Yeah.
No,
They're-
If they're wet.
sturdy enough.
Yeah.
Right. But there would be a period that, we'd have
Maybe.
this available so they could
Okay.
schedule it. I mean,
So back to
Just
the
thinking.
particulates in the
and so
water.
on the particulates, it seems like a big topic. And maybe if you talk about what you're specifically interested in, maybe we could get
Well,
you to
several
come
years ago,
back.
we had a lot of really bad problems in siltation with the Northeast Ridge development, and where they had not properly catched all of the muddy water coming down. And I know we have the big catch basin at Westfield, or is that what you call it? Up at the end of.
We have a few sedimentation basins up in that area. We have 2 across from Mission Blue Center. We have 1 on South Hill, and we have 1 at the end of West Hill Place.
West Hill Place. I've seen the one at the end of West Hill Place, and it does a really good job. But, like, for instance, with the kind of year that we've had this year, you can, especially if you look at an aerial photography, and I drive over the bay every day, and you can see the plumes of brown, mucky water especially right after a rain, and you can see it, flowing out from the lagoon, and you can see the additional sedimentation we've had in the lagoon just in this season at low tide. And so I'm wondering, is there any way, how much is that regulated? And is there any way that we can step that game up so that we're not putting as much muddy water into
There's probably about 3 or 4 different programs that all look at that same thing. So from the simplest of our sedimentation box maintenance, so we have those 4 large sedimentation basins that capture basically San Bernardino Mountain runoff. And then we also have, I believe, 5 or 6 smaller sedimentation boxes. And when I say small, they're like 6 by 10 feet by probably 10 feet deep. And those filter sedimentation coming off of San Bernardino Mountain through Brisbane. There's a few, you probably wouldn't even recognize them because they're just at the end of some canyons. Those are a start, and we maintain those every year. And that's kind of the first step to maintaining sedimentation coming off San Bernardino Mountain. We also have a lot of inspection programs geared specifically towards this. Section C6 of the municipal regional permit is geared specifically to look at runoff coming off of construction sites. And it aims at construction sites over 5,000 square feet of disturbed area. So we have a few sites, 3 sites specifically in Brisbane, that we look at every time it rains. We're out there doing an inspection, ensuring that there's no sedimentation coming off that site. So we're looking at Bayland Soil Processing, Brisbane Recycler, and we're looking at, we're not looking at Healthcare Partners anymore, the development at the marina, because we still watch them, but they're not an active site right now. They're inactive, and they have a very good filtration system out there right now. They have a huge sedimentation basin that handles all the runoff from that site, so they're fine. But and we also have other inspection system programs looking at it. We have the C4 inspections, which are the business inspections for stormwater. So that specifically goes out and looks at all commercial businesses in Brisbane. We go out and we inspect them for all sorts of different runoff. We're looking at trash runoff, chemical, we're looking at sedimentation, we're looking at any water that comes off their site that to make sure that they have no impact to stormwater. And that's done depending on the frequency it's needed. Those businesses are being inspected anywhere from once a year to every 5 years, depending on the severity of what we find in the inspections. And then also there's the construction site inspections, either done by our city inspector or done by the building inspectors. And those guys, they're always looking at sedimentation control. So there's a lot of different programs looking specifically at sedimentation and different stormwater runoffs. Are they perfect, especially on a year like this? They do their best. And they really do a good job, but there's a lot of dirt coming off that hillside. I mean, you're sure you guys have seen the slides in town.
Yeah.
There's probably a dozen right now out there right now, and all of those are putting sedimentation in when they happened.
Yeah. An awful lot comes off of the Bayland soil processing and the stockpiling, and also from actually Golden State Lumber. One thing that's kind of annoying is, they, as part of their dust mitigation, they have a sweeper. But all that sweeper does is stir up the dirt and move it around. And then I even noticed this today coming home because it was windy. People coming on the southbound on-ramp there at Candlestick, all this dust everywhere from leftover from what's dumped out of their trucks as they're going by, and the whole process there. And there's and you can see the erosion rivulets in the piles of dirt. So how are we capturing all of that? And is that channel that goes through the Baylands dump, is that being also filtered for sedimentation?
The channel itself is not filtered. What that site does mainly for filtration, they use a few different systems. And I've been out there and I've done the inspections myself before. Generally, our city inspector handles them. But I'm his backup. So they use a few different systems. They start with check dams, gravel check dams, and silt fence and straw wattle. That's their first line of filtration. After that, they use sedimentation basins. They have, I believe, 4 sedimentation basins around the property that captures all the rainwater before it goes into the channel. After that, depending on how close the sedimentation basin is to the channel, then they'll also do another round of check dams with silt fence and straw wattle to filter it before it reaches the channel. They also use a vegetative swale on certain parts where it's older and they have enough vegetation growing into the swales. And they also use a vegetated buffer between different areas, especially on the east side where they have a large gap between their property and 101. So they have a large, I think it's about 100 feet of vegetated swale or vegetated buffer. So they use a lot of different methods, and they have an engineering firm contracted just to handle their sedimentation plan.
And in your opinion, they're effective?
Yes, they have been, and we will give them a notice violation when they aren't in compliance. Generally, their lack of compliance is more just they need to, something broke down because of the heavy storm and they haven't put the check dam back yet. But generally, they do a pretty good job, and they are out there trying.
Yeah. And we have the same kind of, or similar kind of program with the quarry?
The quarry does not fall underneath us,
But
unfortunately.
the runoff does.
The runoff comes into Brisbane, but it's not regulated by us
Why not?
because it's outside of our sphere of influence, as far as my understanding goes.
I think
It's not
it
one
is
of our
actually
sites. It's
in our
handled
sphere of
by
influence.
the county. That's a county inspection. Their people handle that inspection. I might not be totally understanding that one completely as far as I do know that the county does handle that inspection.
Could you look into it, make sure that's being mitigated as well, because that is the source of a lot of sedimentation as well. And I was under the impression from when we had the no quarry housing that Brisbane was that they are in our sphere of influence.
Yeah, the DEIR lists it as our sphere of influence, but maybe
Okay.
there's more than one definition of sphere of influence.
Yeah, maybe I'm using the wrong terminology there.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
let's
term-
just
sphere of
find out
influence,
and make
but-
sure the county's
yeah.
doing their job there
I will.
too, because
I-
a lot of dust comes out of the quarry. I call BAM
Definitely.
QB all the time,
Yeah.
whatever their acronym is. First name basis with Dick, their inspector. Sorry, I didn't mean to ask all the
Wrong one.
questions, but
Oh, those are good questions.
I think you've covered it.
right.
Thank you very much for
Great.
explaining
Yes.
everything to us about what you do. And I, again, apologize for being late and holding you up.
And thank you for doing what you do, Keegan, your
No
crew,
problem.
because it really makes a huge difference. I see over, and I work in Emeryville, and I see along the waterfront there, just the sheer amount of trash. And a lot of that's because, that's where the slot dumps everything that goes into the bay. But it's horrific to look at that and think, oh my God, we could prevent this with, and our city's doing a pretty good job of it.
We're doing a good job. Yeah, we're not done yet. There's
No.
still a lot more to do, but
Well, let us know what we can do to support your efforts with public education.
okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you. Oral communications?
Did you have a comment that you wanted to make to the Open Space Committee? Or question or anything? Okay. All right, so did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
I did. Is there a motion to approve them, or are there some corrections?
I move to approve them.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Minutes are approved. Okay, next we have chair and committee member matters.
No. Oh, yeah. Okay.
With nothing underneath it. So it looks like,
Yeah, I guess we'll just bring that up orally.
I have some chair and committee matters.
okay, so maybe we could combine.
This is the place where committee members bring up items that they would like to discuss agendizing at future meetings.
Oh, okay. Sorry, thank you.
I might have moved it up in the agenda, and
Okay.
it just seemed like it fit better at this point.
So are there things
Yes.
that we would like to agendize? I had something and I completely forgot what it was. So Michelle,
I
go
have
for
a
it.
couple things. And maybe, wait, she stole my printed agenda. Hold on. I just want to make sure that we're still addressing the invasive species ordinance, the open space plan update, the list of items that we had on over the last year that have been stalled out, and the signs for the littering. And I think after Keegan's presentation, I think that's even more important, and maybe we should consider expanding those the signage for littering. And then, did we ever get the acres lots added that were missing from the open space and ecology report? There were 2 lots on the assessment that were missing because of the page break.
Oh, yeah, the table.
On the table.
Not on the map, but on the table.
On the table, that I didn't bring my report tonight, but on the table
The plan, the open space plan?
in the open space plan, the 2001 open space plan, on the table with the lot assessments, there are 2 lots that are missing because of the page break.
Did you mention that last meeting?
Yeah.
I didn't put it in red. I did not do that, but I will look into that, and we need to set a meeting for the open space plan subcommittee. Things have been a little bit slow without the staff person. Bob is the engineering technician, and he does a lot of water regulatory stuff, sewer stuff, and he doesn't have as many hours as Natalie had to give.
And he said more water this year, which means more
water.
sewer problems.
That's true.
But he is doing a good job with the hours he has. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I suggest that in future meetings, we might want to combine chair and committee member matters and subcommittee reports?
We can do that, yeah.
It's just it's a little bit confusing to have them divided quite in that way.
Yeah,
For this meeting, we can stick with the present agenda since we've already approved it, but
okay. Invasive species ordinance is still on the subcommittee list. We need to get a meeting started, get that started and get a meeting together also. So we'll set these up. We'll set those 2 up. Send out emails to those committees.
Yeah, maybe have a little reminder to the subcommittees, because I don't have my full notes with me. I don't even remember which ones I'm on at the
We
moment.
discussed, right.
But send out a little, does your subcommittee want to have a meeting on this day?
Right, is your availability in the daytime or the evening or the...
Uh-huh.
I just had a synapse connect. I remember.
Oh my God, there's sparks.
Look out. Be careful. So I was at I believe it's called the Bayshore Nursery, up across from Lowe's, I think it is.
It used to be Floorcraft Nursery. Now it's called Flowercraft.
Yes.
It's always been Flowercraft.
No, it used to be for Floorcraft.
I've heard that debate too, because there is a Floorcraft that's flooring right next door. But
Yeah, and they're owned by the same people. But as far as I can remember back, and I admit
I'm older.
memory
It was
does not go as far
Floorcraft.
as-
Trust me. And now it's Flowercraft.
Now. Okay, so I think we all know which place we're talking about.
Yeah.
They are selling vinca, which is periwinkle, which is a really bad invasive species. And what the heck else did I see out there? I'm headed back there in the next couple of days, but they're selling a couple of other species that are locally problematic. So in the past, what we've done is sent nurseries a letter and said, please don't do this.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
So the next time I go there, I'll make it a point to get an inventory of those things. I don't think they're selling scabiosa, but I'm sorry, I'm just blanking on the other problem plant that they had there.
Not broom.
No, it's
Passion
not
vine?
broom.
It's not Passiflora, the passion vine.
That I don't know.
Okay.
Flower too is also.
Some of them, the Passiflora jamesonii, the orange one, is extremely invasive. It's like the California kudzu. Yeah. One little 1 gallon pot can take over a whole tree in a year or 2.
So I should probably take some kind of a little list with me. Anyway, I propose that we send them a letter. And
With a list of all the invasive.
When did we send letters? Was that probably before?
quite a while ago,
I
it
even-
was close to the time that I first joined the committee.
Oh, so Lisa Ponacorvo was Lisa Ponacorvo was staffing back then.
We did send a letter, I know, to Lowe's. in
We
South
sent one
City.
to Lowe's, and I think we also sent one to this nursery before.
I thought you sent one to Orchard too.
And we sent one to Orchard, I'm pretty sure.
Was the
They should be in
letter-
the file someplace.
I'll look. Was the letter from the committee or from
Yes.
the city?
It was from the committee.
Yeah. we'll
And
look for that.
I'm sorry, I just am blanking on what, but I was there with Mary Gudikans. You know, she knows her eggs too, so we were both looking at this and went,
What are you doing?
so we should send them another letter. You know, time passes, people forget. I suppose they go to shows and they say, "Oh, that looks nice. Let's have some of
That
those."
grows really well, really fast. You can sell a bunch of it.
Great
Yeah,
ground
so-
That was
cover.
really fast.
So does South San Francisco have similar invasive ordinance because they border the San Bruno Mountain on the other side? I mean, because these companies are located on South San Francisco territory, is it possible to combine efforts or send it from the name of both cities or to have it more impactful?
Right now, we're talking about a letter. If you're referring to an ordinance, I think the only way to do it would be at the county level.
No, yeah, I was
Is
referring
is
to
this
the letter.
something we're going to agendize, or are we discussing it now?
Well, I thought we should agendize it. Maybe Karen can find an old one, and if so, we can just, use that and
Yeah.
fill in different blanks. Yeah.
Yeah, let's agendize it for the next meeting because this is a heavy growing and planting time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what were you asking?
I was wondering if we know whether South San Francisco have certain a list of species that they consider invasive, and that we can maybe reach out to them and also kind of send a letter on behalf of both, I don't know, City of Brisbane, City of South San Francisco.
The organization that would ideally do that would be San Bruno Mountain Watch because it's the invasives that are a problem for the mountain. And I don't know, Michelle, does San Bruno Mountain Watch do anything like that in terms of
Currently, we don't have enough staff or funding to be doing that. We are really
surprise?
surprise. We are very underfunded right now, and we could actually really use some donations. Go to our website at mountainwatch.org.
Or perhaps
That's my
an
other.
intern.
That's what do you call it? Public oral communications. But no, we don't have the. We are working with the county on invasive species removal, and
Okay.
we just got $40,000, not for us, but that will be going directly to the HCP for invasive species removal in preservation parcel next to the Terra Bay development. So that was pretty remarkable. Mountain Watch did that, but that doesn't come through our coffers at all.
Bob, could you please do me a solid and put this letter on next year's calendar for February?
Letter to nurseries?
Yeah.
Like that we would look at.
Because I
send
think
it
we
out
should
once
do
a
this
year.
as an annual thing.
Yeah, you actually might want to move it up to January when they're doing their
Yeah.
purchasing.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking February, but it probably needs to be even earlier than that
Yeah.
in January.
Yeah, November and January. Send it
Yep.
twice.
I think that, thank you, Michelle. It's a good point.
Okay.
Okay. Are we on to subcommittee matters?
No, I had a couple of small things. I was going to say if I was going to ask if we could at some point get an update on where we are on getting staff, and wherever that's appropriate.
Just throw it in right
Don't
here.
you love Bob? He's doing a great job.
No, I do love Bob,
we
but
are-
Bob doesn't have as many hours, so-
We're asking for a full-time staff
Yeah.
person that's working title as a sustainability coordinator.
Uh-huh.
They would probably also staff complete streets. That would be some of their hours, but a lot of it would be the workload that we have. The job description was given to me. I added the illustrative list of duties, and it has taken a while, but it's set to be released in the coming weeks.
Yeah, because Natalie left in
Late November. Yeah,
So-
November was our last meeting.
Okay. Well, hopefully that'll. And so, did council approve that idea of having a full-time person? Mm-hmm. Great. great. So progress has been made, and we will just go woohoo for that.
Like early summer, we're hoping.
Okay,
Couple 3 months.
great. And the other thing I was going to ask is if Kimo wanted to say anything about the toolkit, if he's had a chance to play with it at all yet.
It's actually Michael that had it the past 1 month.
I was here last time and nobody gave it to me.
Michael took it, so Michael has had the toolkit the
Oh,
last
okay.
one.
You have to ask Michael.
Oh,
Because you ran out of here so fast.
You left, you forgot to take it with you.
Maybe.
Okay,
But that's, yeah.
okay.
That's
So it is
where we're
currently
at.
in limbo. Good.
No, it's with Michael.
It's with Michael.
But, was Michael actually going to try it? Okay,
Yes.
great.
That's why he took it.
Okay. I didn't realize. I thought maybe he was supposed to hand it off to Kima or something, but no. It's all happening.
Oh, that would have
Okay.
been great. I can't wait to try it out.
Okay, great.
We do have staff updates on a county toolkit, and I did email
Yeah,
about
but
that.
that's different than ours.
You want, so if we can talk, let's talk about
Okay.
it now.
May as well.
Sure.
So
No, we should stick to our agenda, just in case.
our working group had mentioned, our countywide working group had mentioned that the county was going to do a toolkit, and both what we did and what they are doing is modeled on what Santa Clara County did, and they had it through their libraries, and we had thought we were going to have our own toolkit, and we didn't know how motivated the Brisbane Library would be on its own to restock our toolkit, but the county is launching theirs around Earth Day.
Right.
And they have pretty similar tools. They have a booklet, and they're going to have a few free items in it. They don't have coupons. So I contacted that person and talked to them at length about what we'd done and sent them our information. And they said they were going to put 2 toolkits in the Brisbane Library, and they would be open to us customizing their 2 toolkits and having the coupons and having supplements to their booklet and having any other specifics that we wanted. So I think I want the Climate Action Plan subcommittee to look at that, but it might... I could see one at City Hall and one being at the library being maybe confusing for people, so
Yeah.
see what people thought about.
I'm sort of disappointed that I put like gazillion hours into that only, but it happens.
Well, I don't think this means that all the hours you spent are not going to be used. I think we should
Yeah, that's
look and see what their toolkit looks like and
absolutely.
see what they don't have, because I doubt it's as comprehensive as yours, as the one you made. And let's figure out a way to amalgamate them, or maybe we just offer them both.
Yeah, why not have, one here and one at the library? Or one here and 2 at the library?
That would be too confusing to people. Where am I supposed to go? Am I supposed to drop my hair?
Well, you know what? They can just pick and come here or come there, and they've got...
The idea came up from a working group meeting, and I had asked them, like, hey, we should do this. This is great. And it didn't get any traction. And we moved ours along, and then they sort of came out of left field and threw theirs down. And I understand how you feel, because you did a lot more work, but we did some too. And ours was like this finished product ready to release, and all of a sudden they're doing it.
It's fine. I mean, as long as it gets done, it's all good. I just wish I'd saved myself some of the effort.
But we don't really know what's in theirs yet.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I think you probably help them kind of get off the, they didn't
Maybe.
want to be.
Yeah.
We have no idea how good theirs
Good.
is. Or
Yeah. When will we get to see theirs? When it's available to the public, or?
Hopefully before, because they know what we're doing. But they had a past booklet from Santa Clara that was, and they sent it, but it wasn't their up to date one, so I didn't forward it.
I could have gotten that. That would have made my job easier.
Well,
I didn't even know there was one.
And so they're getting a graphic designer to customize it for San Mateo County, and then they're going to finalize it. At some point, they'll let us see it, and they did say if we wanted to, we could customize the 2 toolkits that they have. So I think I might have the list of tools they're supplying and the list of they're giving like an LED light bulb and a faucet aerator, but I think ours is better because there's a lot more refinement and we're getting people to purchase more stuff for use the hardware store. It's got a bunch of advantages. So
yeah, so let's just look at it and see, and maybe we'll offer suggestions to them on their toolkit.
yeah, maybe they'll improve all of theirs.
This is how you should really do it.
And I'm sure I'll learn a few things too that I didn't think about. Excuse me.
Okay, are we ready to move on then?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
All right.
Oh, I wanted to ask Michelle, is there a San Bruno Mountain Watch sale coming up? 'Cause I need to pick up some things.
There will be. I don't know the exact scheduled date, but we usually have one in May.
Okay.
April is our heavy hiking month. The planting season is over, but we're scheduling hikes for almost every weekend in April. So I'm even leading one on April 8th, the Old Lady Hike. How slow can you do the Buckeye Canyon Loop? So on subcommittee reports, speaking of San Bruno Mountain Watch and other organizations like our Parks and Rec Department, are we on subcommittee reports now?
No,
No.
we still haven't reviewed the letter.
We haven't reviewed the Wells
Where's,
Fargo.
oh, you know why? You stole my agenda. and I'm
you
looking
pushed
at
it
last
at
month's.
me.
Well, just to help. Okay, sorry. Let's do that. I was looking at
It's on the
agenda.
screen as we speak.
So,
Oh.
yeah, you can go.
So Stuart was at our last meeting and made some suggestions, and I sent him the draft of the letter I had, and he wrote back with a few suggestions. And in accord with the committee's wishes, I also included quite a lot on climate change. So it is a longer letter than it was before, but I think it's a better letter. I actually did quite a bit of rewriting when I went through and added these things. So I don't know if people have had a chance to look at it, but if you haven't, it's on your screen right now.
I looked at it. I read it. I thought it was really excellent. The suggestions that I have are to break up each of these long paragraphs into 2 paragraphs for easier comprehension. It's just these large type blocks like this. I'm concerned that they will not read through them as well. So, for example, in the first paragraph, you could break it at unfortunately as a new paragraph. And then in the second one, the Brisbane Open Space and Ecology is proud of the city's commitment, and make that the second, break it up there to make it a little easier. The third paragraph is kind of hard to break up because it's like a long thought and it's not as long as the other 2. And then the last paragraph, I'd love to find a part to. That one's going to be hard to break up too, but it just seems like they're large blocks. However, what you have to say here is excellent and it's really well written. And I think it's an important letter for us to put forth to the council. So really, mine is just a matter of kind of tweaking the formatting a bit. And I was in the elevator the other day, and I saw the little, soundbite pop up on the elevator screen that said, "We passed the 2-degree mark, and the Earth is hotter than it's been estimated than it has been in 10,000 years."
Were they referring to 2 degrees Celsius? Because we have not passed that.
Well, that's what it looked like on the soundbite in the elevator.
Okay, so they might have meant 2 degrees Fahrenheit, but we're not yet at 2 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, but they just said the Earth was, it was an elevator. It was maybe fake news.
Personally, I think the paragraph structure fits with what I learned about paragraph structure, which is you should group, similar thoughts in one paragraph. But
Okay, well,
if somebody if people really want to change it, go ahead.
it just seems like they're long paragraphs to me.
The long paragraphs don't bother me, but then I have, I think, a greater than average attention span, so either way is fine with me. I have no preference.
Okay.
One thing that could happen is that it's a fairly long letter. If we start adding a lot more space inside it, it could end up being more than 2 pages, and I think that would be a bad idea.
I'm okay with the paragraphs as well. I just had one thought on the last sentence of the letter, which says, please pass a resolution asking Wells Fargo to pull its financing from the pipeline. I'm not sure if this is the same as what we're asking in the first paragraph, which is to condemn the involvement of Wells Fargo with the pipeline. So are we expressing our disapproval, or are we asking Wells Fargo to pull its finance? When I first read it, it struck me as 2 different things, and I just wanted to make sure that we are consistent with what we're asking for in the letter.
We're actually asking for both things. We're expressing disapproval, but you're right. that last sentence could say, please pass a resolution expressing the city's disapproval of such projects and Wells Fargo's role in them.
I thought because when a person starts reading it from the first paragraph, this is kind of what they think we're asking for. So I thought we should be consistent.
No, it's fine.
With our ask.
I agree. So, Bob, I can tweak this last sentence if you want and send it to you yet again tomorrow.
Other than that, I thought that the letter is really great. So thank you for putting it together.
Yeah.
Sure.
I agree.
Stuart asked me, did we need help crafting a resolution, which I guess what I took from that was that the Open Space Committee ought to prepare some kind of draft resolution for the council.
And
I
think that's
said,
what his thought process was, and at some point he asked the city attorney to craft one, and if he had another agency he could draw from. So I'm imagining that Stuart brings it to council with the supporting letter. So there may not be more that the committee has to necessarily do.
Okay, yeah, because I told him, yes, we would like help. And then I didn't hear from him. And then he said, then I did hear from him. He said, I'm really sorry, I haven't gotten back to you. But I don't really know where that leaves us. So is that your understanding that he's working on that? And
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll follow up with him if it's something that we need to review. I mean, if it reflects what the letter says, I don't think that.
Okay. All right, so does the committee want to see the letter again when I tweak it?
No.
No.
All right, so I'll send you a final, like tomorrow.
Okay, great. And Stuart did tell me that he just recently contacted New Resource or New Resources Bank?
I think singular, but yeah.
New Resource. And he did not hear back from them yet, but he didn't see on their website. They do nonprofits, but they didn't have any municipalities, so he was not optimistic, but he's still following that.
Yeah, I really
good.
appreciate that. As I said, I fully understand it's a long shot, and even if it is an option and the city might still have ample reasons for not wanting to pursue it, I would just like to know if it's even in the realm of the possible.
Yeah, and then if he's bringing a resolution to council, that could be a discussion point. And it might be something to think about that some of the banking could be done there, at least,
Maybe. That might be helpful.
Yeah, there are plenty of reasons to turn away from the big banks. Not least of which might be that, the big banks are still big. In fact, they're even bigger than they were before 2008. And now, financial regulations are being challenged. So it might even be safer for the city to keep its money someplace else. I hope that enters into the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point, Glenn.
I'll relay that to him. And I'll keep you posted when the ordinance is going to council.
Okay, so item 7, here it is, Brisbane Acres Vegetation Management Input.
So, Shelter Belt is going to put together their vegetation management plan again for this year. They are, later in staff updates, planning to start working in Firth Canyon once it dries out, hopefully in April. So the vegetation management, they do some in the summer and some in the winter. And I consulted with Fred Smith, who's normally put that together, and he's slightly less available to us. So rather than bring Mark to present what he's going to do, I asked him to present at the end when he gave us the synopsis of what he had done for the season. He had the pictures and the really great graphics. So I'm just asking you as staff if there are any particular things that you'd like us to try to add or focus on. This is an extension of what we did last year and kind of the general plan of what I've asked Mark to focus on.
It would be an easier question to answer if we knew for sure everything that was up there. I don't know how available Joe Cannon is, but he would be a good person. He teaches ecology at City College. He might be a good person to ask whether there's anything we should add, although, I don't know, does he still spend time on the mountain?
Oh, yeah. And he still works with Mountain Watch occasionally.
He might be a good person to ask, and he's, not to come to a meeting or anything, but just to give input on whether,
Get a consult, okay.
yeah.
The other person to ask is, of course, Ramona, the HCP manager, the buyout, whatever her title is. She's very knowledgeable about what's going on the mountain. And she works closely with Ariel, our stewardship manager.
Yeah, I would just run it by a couple of people and see what they think.
Yeah.
Personally, I think the Scabiosa program is a good idea and should continue.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and that was a question. We're not going to do any tree removal this fiscal year. We did the trees on the eucalyptus trees on the lot that was recently purchased at the end of Paul, and we did the Monterey pines on the 3 lots up Hill of Harold, and we kind of spent 2 years of funds in that, so there won't be any more tree removal and there isn't, according to Fred, there isn't anything that needs to be focused on.
Okay.
It'd be nice to start working on, really get the broom out and maybe also reduce the load of coyote bush. Because coyote bush is really eating into the grasslands, and it's also a heavy fuel plant.
I think he was saying that they were doing that, didn't he? When Mark came, didn't he say that they were kind of beating back the coyote brush a little bit?
I know the county is in certain areas.
That might have been the brush reduction that we did as a pilot, because that eats up a lot of money, so.
That's right.
Do it
I think that was
acres
it.
wide, but we can focus on areas and kind of rotate through year after year. So I can get Mark also to give us feedback on. That's the idea, is to continue that.
Yeah. One thing when we do tree removal, and even with some of the other work that we're doing, we should maybe put a little blurb in the Star about it, because there was some conversation on Facebook about the removal of the pines, and I'm like, they're non-native. They really needed to go, But people are like, don't always understand when it's a tree is a tree, and a tree is not always where it needs to be, or the kind it needs to be. And I think that's hard sometimes for people to understand when they're not seeing the big picture. So letting them know in advance that this is happening, or after it's happened, explaining what happened, is a good idea for us.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point, that we're trying to return that to grassland, and that's why we're not going to plant another grove of trees in that area.
Right, and that the Monterey pines are sick and don't belong there, and the eucalyptus don't belong there either.
I'm gonna be a little bit of a thorn in this committee's side for a moment. I am very protective of trees.
As am I.
And I totally understand why those Monterey pines and eucalyptus were coming out, but I would like to see the city replace the trees. Not necessarily in that location, but somewhere else in town. We've lost so much of our 70% of our forests worldwide. I just would like there to be conservation of trees within Brisbane. Does that make sense?
Well, it does in some ways, but
Yeah.
if you go back and look at, we're never going to go back to the way we were, period.
I know.
I think
But we would have to plant 7 trees for every one we took down to go back to the way we were.
No, this was grassland. There weren't trees.
Well, on a grand scale, like on a worldwide scale.
I think they're kind of separate issues. Street trees, in my opinion, should be replaced and increased, but that's a different deal than the mountain, where the objective is different.
Absolutely. But I'm saying, if we've got a plan to cut down trees on the mountain, could we up our street tree program?
But again, I think they're kind of separate issues, and I'd be willing to ask for that and agendize it for a future meeting. We've actually talked quite a bit about street trees on this committee, but I'm not sure it should be connected to what's being done on the mountain as far as tree removal myself.
And the other thing too is that even with trees, I love trees. Don't get me wrong. I love trees. You can go look in our backyard. It's a jungle. But, we've interfered a tremendous amount with the ecology of the planet.
Yes.
And you look around and you think, like, one of the big gaffes we made in the Northeast Ridge was the original planting plan, where it states in the CCNRs that they're not allowed to, the trees are allowed to grow to their full height. But as it turns out, that's a bad thing for the butterflies, not a good thing, because the trees are now taller than the buildings and are impeding flight over the development. And so that was not foreseen 35 years ago or 30 years ago when the, HCP was written. And you see other disasters around the world where, we've tried to correct a mistake and made it worse. And just in our own, downtown area, you look at the redwood grove that surrounds the current Brisbane Library. That was not there in 1980. And now it's huge grove of redwood trees that are really tall and are probably going to become problematic over the next few years because they are so tall and they draw so much water.
And they already are problematic
Yeah.
to their neighbors.
Yeah.
They're already a problem.
And so it's nice to say, let's plant. But we need to be sensitive about what we're planting and where we're planting and how much we're planting.
Absolutely.
And how we're going to take care of it. How we're going to take care of it's a really important one. So,
No, I totally agree about the what we're planting and where we're planting it. But I personally feel if you don't set a benchmark for yourself, then it's easy to just keep cutting down trees and not replacing them.
yeah.
So,
And we have replacement policies in play for Crocker Industrial Park.
and the city, and street trees in the city,
Yeah.
and on
Yeah.
facilities and on private property.
Yeah.
Okay.
Committee, we still have quite a few agenda items to get through, and I, for one, would like to get home.
Yeah.
So may I suggest that do you want to agendize this for a future meeting, or?
No, I mean, I've expressed my opinion, and everybody seems to think that it's going along fine, so I'm okay with that.
I don't think anybody said that, but I do. but I think people have said it's
not
separate from what we do on the mountain.
Fine.
So I have just one comment on what we're doing on the mountain, and it's not necessarily the Brisbane Acres, but years ago when the last phase of the Northeast Ridge was built, the agreement was that the developer will contribute $4 million. I was wondering if the city staff has an update on when the city will receive these funds and when they can start to be used for habitat restoration on the Northeast Ridge.
I'm not familiar with that at all, but I can look into it. You could also check in the planning department because they handle the development agreements, but I can look into it. I don't know anything about it.
The money is not. It is to be held in trust, and the interest on it is what's used, and then how and where it's used within the perimeters of the HCP is determined by the Habitat Conservation Manager, which is the county. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be used at the Northeast Ridge. Matter of fact, it won't be. Probably won't.
It'll be used on the mountain,
Other
not on the
places,
Northeast Ridge.
Not in the Northeast Ridge.
Okay, so information about it's available somewhere, like the county already has made a plan?
We have an ongoing plan, and you can ask the Habitat Conservation Plan Manager and also read the documents that are there. Our city manager sits on the trustees over that, so they would know that when the funds are going to be, I believe the development's complete now, and I believe the funds are ready to be deposited and the interest to start contributing to the HCP. But the interest on the money is not enough to fund nearly what needs to be done at all. It's not some big stash of cash that everybody dreamed it was going to be. And that's really the failure of the HCP and why it continues to be underfunded. And thank God the city of Brisbane helps fund the habitat restoration on the acres that we've acquired. Otherwise, things would be in a way worse state than they are.
Great.
San Mateo County Open Data Portal Input.
So this item might be, again, for the Climate Action Plan Subcommittee to go dive deeper into, but this is something that the CCAG working group is facilitating for all the cities to be able to look at and compare greenhouse gas emissions, energy usage, and waste, and water. We only have the first sheet here, but they are getting input and going to make this live pretty soon, and they put a generic intro. So I thought if our agenda was light, we could look at this specifically, but if not, we could just have the Climate Action Plan Subcommittee kind of work through this with staff. So
Good.
we can talk about
Yeah,
it.
I just didn't. I looked at this opening page. I didn't go into it, and I just don't even know what it is.
Well, that's what they kind of generically put in there to placehold for each of the cities.
Okay.
And it doesn't. We didn't get in here the other information that they're going to have on the website, so we can show you guys that.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. Are we supposed to like put information in? Are we supposed to get information out of it? Is it like an upgrades thing, like home energy efficiency or commercial energy efficiency thing? I just don't even know what it is from its description. I was really confused.
So open data portal, doesn't that imply that we're going to get some type of access to data of usage of resources, I guess, for the city of Brisbane, and then that data can be used for some type of like insights analysis?
What are they accomplishing? I'm just confused.
If we do have a chance to offer input, maybe we could say just on the basis of this page that they need to introduce themselves. The CCAG needs to introduce itself and explain what this is all about.
This is our page from there. So each county that is committed to having data be transparent and available, this is what you would get into from the county's page.
Okay.
Here's what the county's doing for.
So this is things like energy use, water use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That wasn't really apparent to me from the description. So
I
and
still think
understand this is just a blank, a template page, but
they need some text on this page. If this is the thing that people in Brisbane are going to see when they click on a link.
Well, and that's what they want us to write.
oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Now it's all clear to me now.
The clouds have lifted.
So Climate Action Plan Subcommittee work
sure.
on this?
Why not?
Why the hell not? Okay.
Great. Then we'll report back after we do.
And maybe you could write South Cities too.
Or we could just write it and then somebody could steal. We could write ours and then they can all copy it.
Yeah, that would probably happen.
We're happy that people steal things from us.
Yeah.
Okay, subcommittee reports.
Cute picture.
Which subcommittees are reporting?
I am.
I have something to report too. So Climate Action Plan, I did do something.
Oh, cool.
And
I
Michelle, which subcommittee are you reporting on?
Habitat Restoration Days.
Oh, okay. Why don't you go first?
Okay, I will. Our first Habitat Restoration Day of 2017 is Earth Day. It's Saturday, April 22nd, and we will be doing the field up along Monarch Drive and Mission Blue Drive that we did last year. And we're hoping for a huge turnout because there's a lot of work to be done there. The ground is soft, ready for us, pliable. We're going to pull broom. We're going to pull fennel. It is a very rich grassland habitat that's important to the calliope and to the Mission Blue butterflies. And so we're hoping for a really good turnout. David Scully has again drawn the pictures for our free T-shirts that people will get. And this time it's a beautiful calliope butterfly, which Karen has. Beautiful. And it includes lunch. And I hope we have a really good turnout. And Bob, you designed a flyer for it, right? No, somebody did?
Yeah, that was the rec
Okay.
department staff.
Oh, okay, through rec department staff. I haven't seen that around yet or being posted. Somebody asked me about it the other day. So I'd love for us to start promoting it because it's...
It went out it's on the website and the weekly website updates, but I think it got to them right after the week before, so it went on this last Fridays, but I'll ask for
Okay.
a wide.
So please, plan to attend. It's really nice when committee members attend. Please tell your friends, invite people, have a meetup group, whatever it takes to get people on the mountain doing this valuable habitat work. It really connects you to the mountain. So
Are we going to need to clean our shoes again this time?
yes.
Okay. Because that
Yes,
might
we
be
will.
something good to make sure people know in advance.
Yeah, we have a shoe cleaning area where you wipe off your shoes before you go up on the mountain to make sure that you don't carry any oxalis or other seeds onto the mountain. And there is minor poison oak there that will be marked, but it's not a heavy poison oak area at all. It's beautiful grassland with, really treasures there.
Would we be able to get the brochure in a JPEG format or a picture format that we can post on?
I believe it was sent to all the
It was-
committee members, but can we have it sent again so everybody's really into doing
But
it?
I believe it was sent as a PDF, correct?
No, we sent.
We'll resend it. We'll resend it.
As a JPEG, like
Yeah.
a picture format?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, send it in both formats so people can choose so that they can
Well-
use it more easily.
Will there be paper copies made, and does somebody take those around so they get posted at Julie's and Midtown Market and other places?
I'll ask the rec department. It's a little bit different without Natalie. They've generously taken over.
Yeah. Well, maybe even some of us would be willing to take one or two stores, because I think those things help. If you walk along visitation and see them.
Yeah, we can print a few right after the meeting if you.
Okay.
And do we know when it will be first posted on the large boards at next to the park and on the ridge?
Signboards.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
signboard.
they should be on both signboards. It'd be nice to have a save the date and
Yeah,
then
like early April. yeah.
soon, like this week or as soon as you have an opening, and then for the week preceding and the day of.
Right.
The day of is actually pretty important, believe it or not, because people see it, like especially the day before, and then the day of, they're like, "Oh, where am I supposed to go?" And they run down there, and it's not there anymore. Maybe I'm imagining that, but we'd really like to have it. Last year we had close to 40 people for that habitat restoration. We'd really like to have a large group. I don't know if we can reach out to some of the businesses like Recology and some of the other businesses, see if their employees want to join in, reach out to the Chamber of Commerce, see if any of the companies that are in the chamber want their employees to participate.
Yeah, I'm sure the chamber can publicize it for us. That's.
I mean, we can manage up to, 60 or 70 people. We have both the city's weed wrenches and our weed wrenches, Mountain Watch's weed wrenches, and we also have, a lot of tools, and there's a lot of work to be done. We did the work we did last year. You can really see the difference. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, and the second Habitat Day is the summer solstice on June 24th, and we'll be doing Costañas Canyon. Go back in and clean up ivy and other invasives in Costañas Canyon. It should be a good time for it because it's nice and cool in the canyon, and it'll be the summer solstice.
Okay. Any other subcommittee reports? All right, let me just say that I have indeed made some slides. I'm not done yet, but I have made half a dozen or so, and I'm going to keep working on that this week. So we're going to schedule a climate action plan subcommittee meeting.
Wasn't it April 6th?
Or have we agreed on April 6th?
Yeah, I think so. And
Okay.
then what time? I want to put it in my calendar while I'm thinking
It's
about it.
Thursday, isn't it?
I think
Yeah.
we're staying with the 3 p.m.
3 p.m. Okay.
Okay, on to staff updates, and we've already done the county energy toolkit. So, Karen, I guess, fire away.
Okay, so the first one is the drought
update. So with all the rain that we've had, the interim drought regulations have been changed a little bit. So the city got rid of the 2-day-a-week irrigation schedule. So now businesses and people can water any days of the week. And then what's required of everybody hasn't changed a lot as far as you're not supposed to irrigate after 48 hours of precipitation, no watering between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., and no washing down your hardscape and, excessive watering of runoff and that kind of thing. But the regulations have changed, so it's 5 days a week if people want to do so. And that's all available still on the city's webpage. And so the next one, I'm going to actually...
And we'll have more information, I guess. The state is looking at in May whether to rescind more or whether this is going to be the status quo. So we'll have more of a detailed update when we hear that in May once they've decided what's kind of the longer-term approach.
So it seems like the days of week is the only thing that went away. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't like that one anyway.
Yeah, I'm just going to switch over so the city can see the... I'll be right back after.
I asked Bob to do a quick run through on the service request system, and it's, well, I don't want to take away his thunder, but I think everybody knows that we have 2 ways to do service request, and then it's useful for the public or committee members to report issues that are, in this case, public work issues that should be addressed. So, like I said, I don't want to steal his thunder. I was just kind of doing an introduction.
Okay, so I didn't hear the introduction, so I'll just say, a lot of times with the having emails to the different staff members outside of our Go request, it's sometimes hard to follow up on all those, or just phone calls or in passing, like, oh, hey, by the way, I saw something. So if you guys might be familiar with this, and if so, that's okay, but anybody else watching, it could be new. So for any kind of minor problems, water leaks, sidewalk trip hazards, potholes, fallen tree limbs, dead or dying trees, litter, graffiti, anything that can be handled kind of the next day or next business day, we have a pretty, solid request system that we use. And so that request system is accessed either through a desktop computer or a smartphone. And first thing, if you want to, if you just want to call the Public Works desk, then Diane can route that to the right department. And
she enters a service request.
Oh, she enters a service request, and that's how it gets routed.
Okay.
But then if you guys want to do it on your own, I'm going to kind of take you through one. So if you go to the city's webpage, and on the very home screen, you go to brisbaneca.org, and then on the bottom of the home screen, there's a connections tab, and then under that, you don't have to click that, that's just there. And then if you kind of scroll down, it says PW Maintenance Request. So if you just click on that, that takes you to a screen that pops up, and that's where you can enter it. So if it's your first time using the request system, you don't have to enter the username or password. It'll send you an email after you've done it once. But if you have done it before, you can log in and you kind of have an account. So anyway, you go to the request type, and then you select your topic, whether it's weeds, trash, and debris on the public property. We'll just use that one as an example because I saw this the other day when I was out, that there was actually a pile of trash someone had dumped on Cypress Lane. So you would click weeds, trash, and debris, and then when you go to your location, a Google map pops up, and you can actually fine-tune the location. So you can drag the item, and then you type in the description. So my description was there's a pile of garbage on the street. And then when you enter it, you get an email that tells you your request number is 1944, and it gives you a date of when it'll be addressed by. And so then you'll get a follow-up email once it has been addressed. And so, like, this is a screenshot from request number 1944. The status, it's closed because they're aware of it and they've scheduled a pickup. So no matter what your request is, it goes to the correct department and they can close it out and follow up. And so it's a great way just to know that you've been heard. And a lot of times in passing, someone say, oh, by the way, I saw this. And if I get down and jot a note and, I don't have someone to reach out and let them know it was addressed. So this is a great way to track because you can always log back in once you've done it and see the result. So the better way to do it is if you guys have a smartphone, this is a really pretty groovy system. You go to the App Store, and it stands for government outreach request. But you type in Go Request, and then you download the free app. And the most important thing is when it asks you, it needs to allow location services on your phone, so you have to allow that. And if you don't allow, it won't work. And so these screenshots were from an iPhone, and I did it on my Android, and it worked lickety-split. But anyway, once you allow it, when you open the app, which is step number 1, the next screen it takes you to has the Brisbane logo, and you just tap New Issue. And then on step 3, you add your comments, garbage in the street, whatever. And then the number 4 is awesome one. Add a photo. You can take a photo right there. Or you can upload a photo if you have one on your phone. But then staff actually sees the problem you're talking about, because sometimes it's vague if you're, I don't know. Anyway, it's a great system, and that all happens pretty lickety-split. And then if it's something that needs immediate attention, just call 911, and they will help route it to a appropriate staff member.
You have too much fun, Bob.
I do like the PowerPoints.
So is there on the less techie way to do it on the website?
Yes.
Is there? Can we see about enhancing? Upload a photo there.
We can see about it.
That wouldn't be less techy.
I didn't see an option to have the photo on the webpage, but
Oh no, it's not there, but
yeah,
could be added, kind of like.
I don't know if we can.
Yeah, we weren't involved in when this system got brought online, but we can check into that. Yeah.
Okay. Speak.
So what's the app called again?
Go Request.
Okay.
I'll go. So it looks like when I did it, it had this. It says My Town.
Oh, okay.
It's got like a little
I found it.
skyline, and yeah.
I got it. Okay, thanks.
And then, just on a side note, I don't know how much it works, but one time I opened the app somewhere else and in a different county that had the services. So
You could do the same thing if anywhere you are.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
got
the
it.
neighboring cities. We use it. So when you're in Brisbane, that's why it knows you're in Brisbane. So that's why it routes right to Brisbane.
Cool.
So
Could you imagine me doing it to all these cities all over the world?
but, yeah, it really is
Eiffel
pretty.
Tower now.
Yeah, I've had
I'm
it
not
think
all
I was
over
in
the United
Oakland or
States, not
something
everywhere
now.
else.
It's kind of weird sometimes.
So just one clarification question. It's pretty clear that if the dead or dying tree is a city tree, that it goes here. But that doesn't apply to all trees, right? Because I just reported several that are on private property that are dead that need to be cut down. So
Right.
that doesn't go on this, does it?
And it doesn't. That's correct, because that's a kind of a separate program that you guys initiated, and Public Works sends out a letter to private property owners saying, "Hey, tree's a hazard, and here's a tree removal permit." So those, if you did them here, they'd probably get forwarded to Bob and I and get dealt with, or whoever's going to.
Well, if it's
Staff the
So I might as well just
safety.
send them to you and Bob, as I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we did deal with those actually. We
Okay.
I took some pictures and we drafted a letter to the property owners and based on the letters that were sent out before, and
Great.
and we sent those letters out already. So
Wow.
those,
If it's a public safety issue.
yeah. So those have been the two that you mentioned on Valley Drive. We've sent 2 letters out this week.
Okay, and there's one other one that wasn't on Valley Drive. Did you get that one?
Yeah, and that was
Park Lane.
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That
Thank
one
you.
was that was a city tree,
Oh, is it?
right? Parkland.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
it was within the public right of way, a little bit beyond the curb is city property. So
Oh, okay.
that's one of ours.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
I think I already told you First Canyon Restoration. We're hoping to see work on that, and it'll be on the website updates that if there are neighbors around there, we definitely want people to know that crews will be out there working and removing invasives. So
Do you know when they're going to start? Or it'd be nice to do some before and after photography there.
Great idea.
they want to start in April. I don't know if that's April 1st. I've been kind of emailing back and forth with Mark, but if you are looking to do that, I'd go soon.
Yeah, I might. Yeah,
Okay.
in my spare time.
And Stuart's overseeing the program that contacts acres owners about purchasing. So he wanted me to update you that he sent out the letters that Fred Smith used to send out each year. The city would be interested in purchasing your acre,
Good.
kind of outreach.
Yay, Stuart.
You may have heard about the Crocker Trail that we applied to the One Bay Area Grant Program for bicycle and pedestrian improvements, and a subcommittee that was that reviewed the grants put us kind of at the bottom of the list and didn't recommend us, but Cliff Lentz, who has been a proponent of this project, got some people that had went to the bike ped, our bike master plan subcommittee, some community members, and had me present to the CCAG board and convince the board that they should fund the project. They actually had money from a parallel program that was different, so they did fund our project at this point. It still has to be approved by MTC, and it has then Caltrans has to obligate the funding before we do it, but we now have the almost 90% funding when we'll provide the match to put a stabilized decomposed granite on Crocker Trail.
Great.
That will be permeable, right?
It's permeable, yes.
Fabulous. Great.
So that should probably happen next summer, I would think. Keep you posted on that. And the Earth Day flags, I think everyone's noticed. Wanted you guys to see them first. They're probably going to go up by the first of the month.
They look good.
Really good.
Are those extra that can continue to hang there?
No.
Darn. How about right here?
Put them right back here for me.
So everybody that watches everything, yeah, good enough.
It's an interesting
Nice try, though.
idea. Yeah.
Will we use them every year? Will they last that long?
So remember we talked before about the idea to have, these aren't canvas, they're kind of nylon,
Yeah.
to have a contest, and we definitely have to have a process, a public process, and involve Park and Rec. So the committee said, let's put these up, see how they look, and then re-agendize later whether we wanted to like kind of have an art contest or selection or something where they were a little more handmade and personalized in the future, and that we could maybe use some of these and some of those. And
It'd be
going
nice to also use these at the community festival.
they have,
Yeah, they look good.
I think they're going to do a set for the community festival.
No, I mean at our booth.
Oh, well, yeah, we could probably do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean when they're done being used here, then we could take a selection of them and use them, at the booth.
Yeah,
and stuff.
probably do that, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. All right. Next meeting, April 26th. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Yeah. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks. Here, Michelle.
I'll take my agenda back. Usually I keep my notes on it, but
Hey, Bob, can you answer me a question about this app when you're done doing what you're doing?
Actually, I can't make the 6th.